TNC Predators turn to ban. Radiant team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back
TNC
for the second series of the day between Adroit and TNC Predator. It is, of course, MLP Dota and John X Fire. John, like I said to you before, both these teams didn't have a good day one. I don't know what I'm going to ask you here, but I suppose I should just ask, how the hell do you feel?
I'm feeling pretty great. Pretty excited to see these two teams face up. Gonna be interesting to see how it does unfold. Adroit up against TNC. Both of them kind of in the bottom of their groups. A lot of people expecting a lot more from TNC, especially after the majors. But, you know, qualifiers are what they are. You do see a lot of teams bounce around in this point. They do have to step their game up. If they stay in that dead last, well, it's not going to end up very nice for them going into the playoffs. Adroit, you know, they've got a lot to prove as well. They've constantly gotten into the close qualifiers. They're having a bit of a rough time. Not one of their more smashing performances in these closed so far. They've also got the additional pressure of, I believe, playing in the Southeast Asian Games in a few days. So they've got more games even after these qualifiers are done. Should act as a nice testing ground for them. Still, it's just going to be non-stop game for Adroit. So both teams really have a lot to go for.
Yeah, well, the draft has already started, TNC. They'll get started with the Vengeful Spirit. We saw this hero pop up quite a bit yesterday. I mean, it's one of those heroes that is very effective, especially because you have the double swap charges. Aura is always good as well. It was a bit up and down. I believe it was roughly around 50% win rate yesterday for the SEA closed qualifiers. But I suppose it's just a nice overall pick. And of course, Adroit pick up one of the most popular heroes right now in the Legion Commander.
Yeah, no faulting with him on falling back to that hero, even as first pick. It's just such an easy hero to draft around. You're not really depending on anything coming out there. Always work out for you somehow. So Adroit, they go a bit safe with that Legion Commander. TNC with Avenge, it's also pretty safe. Like, the hero has received a nice set of buffs. You do get a lot more vision now from using your wave, and there is a lot more value in her aura now. It can work out quite nicely, so there's a lot of value in these two picks. It still doesn't tell us too much about how these drafts will unfold, and we really have to watch out for that one. Again, both teams really need this win. They want to push themselves out of that lower part of the groups. So I guess the pressure is really there for TNC though. These guys, they're supposed to be the favorites of this group. They're supposed to be the favorites of a region. It hasn't felt that way the past day.
Certainly not. It's come out as the second pick now for Adroit. We didn't see much of the Tusk yesterday, but it is still an overall just great kind of support to have.
5 seconds remaining.
Really not much being revealed by Adroit, nor by TNC. See what they do pick up for their second pick now. TNC, I wonder what the game plan is here. Of course, we do know that Armel does love running the Broodmother. And I could imagine if it is left all the way to the end, he probably will go ahead and pick it up. But for now, they will go ahead and pick up the Abaddon, which I believe should be KP's hero.
Yeah, and Abaddon has gotten some shakeups. I wouldn't. It has certainly been nerfed in one way, but it does still have a lot of presence in the laning phase. The fact that you can't self-deny now kind of takes out a lot of utility as a support, and I guess even as a core when you're in a tight spot, but you do have a lot more going for yourself in terms of your presence. I believe there are still ways to make this hero work. Going to be interesting to see that play up against what Adroit has. Just with that tough Legion commander, you can see the aggression from Adroit already taking shape. These heroes do not let up in the early parts of the game, and they snowball quite hard, especially, I mean, Tusk snowballs, but, you know, these heroes just build up quite fast. I can see the Legion commander getting a lot of duels early on, even without the blink, just with the Tusk roaming around with her. So you've got a lot of value there from Adroit's opening. And TNC, it's still a bit wide for them. With that Venge Abaddon, we still have to hammer in what exactly the game plan will be.
Yeah, it's certainly very open for either side.
Team pick.
Looks like we'll see the TA ban coming out as that final ban for Adroit before we get to see some more pickups. And surely these next two picks for either side will reveal a bit more of this draft, see what they're up to. Kind of shocked to see the Enigma ban though from Adroit. I've got to say, we didn't see any Enigma bans or pickups yesterday, and I wouldn't have imagined TNC would go for it.
10 seconds
You did mention in a private conversation before that Enigma could be big this patch with the jungle changes. Looks like Adroit may agree with you. But for now, it is just banned out. Oh, reserve time is starting to tick down for Adroit.
NC Predators turn.
A Lich will pop out.
Okay, we have seen this a couple times before. The Tusk Lich is a really strong combination. You know, we used to talk about that a lot when it was around. And you see TNC as well, pick up that Mirana. So you've got strong heroes all around so far. I do like Adroit synergy is a bit stronger for me. You have a lot more value with Tusk Lich as a duo. Even if they're not going to be laning together, at some point when they go together, or if they go in the tri-lane, the pressure they can apply is so strong. It's just a lot to deal with early on, and I can see them running over whatever lanes TNC does have in mind. Now, Mirana, it still is quite a strong hero. Level 1 arrow has been kind of shafted as a control spell, so you're not going to be getting as much value as you'd like from that anymore. It still is potent. You have a decent setup in the Venge. You can follow up quite nicely. You can do the damage. You do work out quite well with the aura. You get, I believe, added attack range, unless I am misremembering the patch very badly. But you should be getting a bit more attack range with that hero now because of the aura from Venge. And that just allows you to apply a lot more pressure than you'd expect.
Of course, Tim's on the Mirana, John. He was massacring couriers. I mean, it was a genocide yesterday with these couriers. They were just all over the place. I kind of want to predict how many couriers he's going to get this game, because he was just hunting them down over and over again. Suppose we'll wait and see for that as Adroit, their fourth pick. Where do you go? You've already got both your supports. We've got to see some more cores coming out for Adroit. They still have the option for that Lifestealer that everyone's been picking up as of late, if they did want to run that. Does kind of suit with the Legion Commander as well, it seems.
Yeah, it definitely does. You have a lot of ways of closing that gap as well. Even outside of the LC, you have the Tusk you can go in with. It just plays into that aggressive playstyle quite nicely. You don't really have the best ways of dealing with it as TNC as well. You don't have anything that really pierces through that spell immunity. Unless you want to swap him, but I don't see why that would be a major thing you'd want to do to a Lifestealer unless he's in a really bad spot. But that's about it. Let's see. There you go, Lifestealer. All right, so it just fits into their draft. The aggression is quite nice. You know, you have the Tusk you can ride in or just snowball in with. You have the Legion Commander you could ride into. The timing isn't too late, so you can come online quite fast and start applying that pressure early on. TNC, what did we respond with here? I mean, they've got a bit of a mishmash draft. Venge, Abaddon, Mirana. Are they going to go for something to set up with a Mirana? Or are they going to be going for something else entirely? It is really open, and I actually can't quite see what they have in mind besides everyone being blue.
Fair enough. It's the option for the Terrorblade, which we did see up against a Lifestealer yesterday. I believe it was actually Raven playing up against TNC's Lifestealer, and the Terrorblade just ripped him apart. So they could opt for that. You've got the Troll Warlord as well, right? Like, you could use the Troll up against the Life. It does tend to work pretty darn well. TNC, fourth pick They're gonna start thinking about this quite heavily. So far, that Broodmother is still in the pool, so Adroit have to ban that out as their last, or otherwise I believe TNC will probably just take it. It is into a Legion Commander to be fair, so you have the wave clear. I'm not sure, I mean Armel does love playing it.
Yeah, it's fair enough. I'd say it works out equally well in Adroit's draft if it doesn't get picked up or banned into their last. I mean, if they picked it up themselves, they have a lot of damage coming out with the Tusk. Just amplifying the spiraling damage is pretty brutal. TNC does pick up that Lina, so they have that much more control here. Good amount of control. Great burst damage coming out now. So you've got to be careful about when you choose those dual fights, where you snowball to, because Lina can definitely work that into their favor here for TNC. It still is quite an open draft. Like, the one good thing is that the Vengeful Aura is going to have a lot of value in these heroes. So Lina's going to have a good time as well. But we're not seeing that cohesive that you'd want in a team lineup just yet. They lack a little bit in the team fight department, whereas for Adroit, it's just constant running against a wall.
Oh, Dragon Knight will pop out for TNC now. It's a very safe pick to be made by TNC, but up against the Lifestealer does work very well. Dragon Knight has massive amounts of armor. Don't mind this pickup. I mean, it seems to work well against the Lifestealer and the Legion Commander, and I don't really see a way for Adroit to be able to take this man down.
Yeah, he's gonna be a hard one to deal with. I guess Lifestealer does enjoy these beefy heroes as the game goes on, but initially it is gonna be a bit of a struggle. You don't have the best magic damage to counteract that hero just yet. It does give TNC a lot of push as well here, so they've got some good tempo going on. It still is not the most stitched up together draft, especially since Adroit, they pick up the Alchemist, so they've got some scaling into the late game. They've got a way of just accelerating in that mid game as well. If you're not going to slow down that jungle farm from Adroit, they can definitely just take over here. But if you slow down Adroit enough, then you have an Alchemist that has to share jungle farm with a Lifestealer and Legion Commander if they fall too far behind. So if TNC can find that early start, then Adroit will struggle to find that space.
Adroit though, with this Alchemist, John, if they can find multiple trusty shovels, and they get lucky enough to continue digging up bounty runes, it could really snowball Mac out of control, which would be pretty interesting to watch.
Yeah, that would just be kind of sickening if they do manage to get that luck. I mean, to be fair, we did just see a tree that didn't get chopped off, giving free Roshan vision for the entire game. So who knows?
Well, we'll see if Adroit can get lucky with those trusty shovels, if they can find them in the first place. And if they do, of course, they've got to get to digging. TNC looking pretty solid with their draft. So does Adroit, though. It's a matter of who can get on top and get the momentum going their way first. Of course, you've always got the backup in Natsumi and Bok, assuming Mac doesn't have the early start he requires on the Alchemist. But TNC, with their draft, is just so safe. It's very hard to fail with this kind of draft. There's not much coordination required. It's just chain stunning over and over again. And that's really it. In fact, speaking of stunning, you've got 4 stuns available on the side of TNC. See how it all pans out.
And the biggest issue I have with TNC's draft is that the area control is really not there. Like, you are relying mainly on Lina's stun to get more than one hero down at the same time. Whereas Adroit, I mean, you could say the same thing. They are relying mainly on the snowball to catch multiple heroes out, but it feels like that just comes online much faster and it is so much more reliable that you can really build off of that sort of initiation easier.
Well, we'll get into it. Game number 1 between Adroit and TNC. Another series where both teams are kind of desperate to get some wins on the board.
Burns.
Gabby already starting with the tip onto Boomy. KP will indeed be on that position 3 Abaddon. See Tim's on the pos 4 Mirana. Was Armel on the Lina? This is something we don't see so often from Armel, but he does perform quite well on the Lina when he does play it. Wondering how much space they're going to be able to give to Mac on this Alchemist as well. At least at the start, they're going to commit 4 heroes down to this bot lane to try and secure both those bounties.
30 seconds to battle.
TNC though should be able to secure both top bounties. It's only Bok up there on the Legion Commander. They should understand this. Do they even bother fighting Adroit over these bottom bounty runes? I don't believe they will. But I say that KP will run in like a man and try to steal. In fact, he does. He swipes it away from them. And so it'll be a 3-for-1 trade. KP does fall very, very low. In fact, he may give away first blood. No, it looks like he will get out safely.
Yeah, that's a really good start here for TNC. They do deny that 1 rune from Max, so it's not going to be an amazing start here for our Alchemist. Just a bit of a slower start than you'd want. And that should be enough to give Armel a slight edge in trading. I mean, it's already going to be an easy time for Lina to apply that pressure onto a hero like Alk. Without that without that extra gold at the start, it's just going to be that much harder for Mac to really stay in the lane.
Top lane, Bok. Gonna be left alone on the Legion Commander. So they're gonna give as much time to Natsumi as they can, just ensure he does secure the best farm possible. Of course, it will be important Mac does the same on the Arc, but Armel will be trying to shut him down as best as possible. Mac, once he gets that initial farm going, he can always just rotate into the jungle. And it looks like our first courier does go down. CML will find KP's courier. That'll be number 1.
Yeah, that's going to be a bit rough for KP. As the offlaner, he will need as much sustain as possible. He's not going to have that option to ferry out any emergency sort of salves or mangoes to keep him up here. So he's just going to have to play it safe, hug the tree line for a bit, and get some EXP.
Tim's gonna fight Boomy over this neutral camp, but Boomy will manage to swipe the small creep away. Over to that mid lane once again. Mac is doing decently considering the situation. Armel is of course ahead, but it needs so much more for the Alchemist to get these last hits. Armel, I mean, just on the laner by himself, isn't really able to shut Mac down.
Yeah, it's not the easiest, especially once you run out of that mana, so he's going to have to ferry some out over. He does have mangoes coming in. That should help the cause here.
KP still finds himself struggling a little bit on this Abaddon. He hasn't found one last hit yet. Courier, he does respawn, so he will be able to bring out some more regen very, very soon, but it looks like he just wants to bring out the Buckler Recipe at this rate. But Natsumi, complete free farm on the Lifestealer, hasn't really missed the last hit yet, and I highly doubt he'll miss anytime soon, so it doesn't seem like this Abaddon's going to be able to shut down Natsumi whatsoever.
Yeah, that's going to be a point of concern for TNC. We have seen Lifestealers get that early start. They can be a menace really early on, especially with the change in favored itemization now.
March chasing Bok. He's very close to killing him off. He needs a bit more damage. The wave of Terrell could kill him off, and yeah, he does. March with the support Venge does find the first blood. Very nice one at that. Meanwhile, looking over to the mid lane, Tim's setting up to try and snipe a courier, and it looks like he may just have his chance in just a moment, as this poor unsuspecting courier is going to run past, but Tim's will leave it be. Looks like he will try to set up at the top lane, though March will find it instead, or rather he dies to a tower. Still, Tim's, are you sticking around? Just going to farm the jungle. Max farm is slowly being shut down, but KP bot lane.
Oh, man. No.
I mean, he close just to soak some XP, and he just ends up dying that quickly. Still 0 last hits on Abaddon.
Yeah, it's rough right now for KP. I mean, he tried to go for a missed coil right at the end there. Unfortunately, you know, they took that out. You can't kill yourself anymore, which is a massive disappointment for me. But it was a bit strong, so you're not gonna have that cheeky play anymore coming out for TNC.
Very upsetting indeed. Looks like Mac has started rotating into the jungle. Tims, meanwhile, finding Bok's courier up at the top lane. Trying to set up a kill attempt. There's the magic missile into the arrow as well. Gabby comes in on the DK, and Bok really should have nowhere to go and doesn't, as the breathe fire will take him out. So essentially both offlanes are being sacked right now anyway. Thing is though, like, at least Bok's almost level 4. Looking at KP, he's still level 2.5. Tries to get the bounty rune, isn't successful in doing so, and is still stuck at that T1 bot tower.
Yeah, it's a rough story here for KP. Another thing that's rough is Mac up against Armel. I mean, he's level 6 now. He could just Laguna down the Alchemist at this point.
Trying to, he's getting rain. Dragon Slave, it will be enough. He does barely find it, but now Burmy trying to find the trade. The shards are there. Armel trying to get out of that P1 range. It will not matter though. Still, I imagine if you are Armel, you will be happy with that, finding the Alchemist before you end up dying yourself.
Yeah, it's a much bigger win here for TNC. They've slowed down this Alch a fair bit. They're going to have to keep track of that jungle much more as this game goes on. But if they keep applying that pressure, you're not space to grow as the Alch. Oh, Bok.
Going onto Bok again. The arrow was used initially, so Bok is going to be okay. CML will join in up at the top lane, and Boomy will do the same. Armel now going to find a nice little arcane move for himself. Tims gonna get chased down a bit. No kill potential there for them though. Was able to just leap away if he really needed to. Mac has just relegated himself to the jungle. He's not wasting any more time in that lane. It's a much slower process, but again, if you can get lucky and find some decent items, especially that shovel, be quite lucrative for him.
Definitely so. This is the point where TNC should be a bit more aggressive with rewards. Have one nice ward. Tim's dropped earlier. They need a bit more to maintain full control here.
Boomy finds KP bot lane, but it looks like Bok is also going to be in trouble up at top. They commit the Dragon Form, Breathe Fire will be there. Magic Missile is coming up from March. He's just going to chase Bok by himself and will find the kill. In fact, Gabby's the one who grabs it. Now Mac actually ends up finding Tims on the Mirana. Armel being chased down as he did find the trade.
Radiant's top
But again, they
tower is under
found the
attack.
Alk, and I think that's all that's going to matter for TNC. This Alk is only at 2.2k net worth right now.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
It's a rough time for Mac. He's just receiving all the pressure in the world. TNC's not relenting on this lane, and he doesn't have the space to really start farming up. He has been dipping in and out of that jungle, but even that's not that safe. There's a very, very active roaming around in the form of Tims, and he's just been really working this map quite well.
Yeah, well, KP bot lane unfortunately goes down once again. That's his third death of the game. He was trying to chase down one of the couriers from the Radiant side, but doesn't get so lucky.
Under attack. No, you don't.
With that, I mean, he's still sitting at that level 3 mark, almost level 4 now, but we are 8 minutes in.
That was hot.
So we'll see how he does plan to try and catch up. At the very least, Armel and of course Gabby on the DK are at the top of the net worth board, so they're not too concerned about this offlane not working out.
Haste. Radiant's middle tower is
CML.
under attack.
Should know Tims is there, it does, but Armel is right behind him, and with that, CML is going to go down. March looking for more now. Doesn't really spot out Boomy. It won't matter though, they are clearing out that T1 tower. Mac gonna come in, but he cops the magic missile, but now the rotations are there. Natsumi gonna go in as well. They'll get a shards off onto March, and March should be dead, but a nice arrow will connect onto Mac. It will not matter though. March does go down to the Alchemist. They will manage to protect that T1 tower.
That was a massive commitment for that, though. They do manage to save Mac this time around. I think that's even bigger.
Well, more bad news for the Abaddon, John. He goes down once again. They just rotated straight after the March kill, straight back down, find another kill on KP. That'll make it an 8-6 now.
Yeah, it's a rough game for KP. He's 0-4. He's still at level 4 9 minutes in as the offlane. I mean, at this point, it almost feels like he should be relegated to more of like a support role. It's just, he's lost that early game timer. He's gonna have to farm a lot to really gain that back into the game.
March trying to go into Natsumi, but they heal him up, they purge up all the stuns, and he's gonna be chased down. They will find the Venge. Now the gaze out onto Tim's, but he'll leap away. Armel won't connect with the stun. Still Boomy actually running back in. He still has the snowball available. They just want that boundary route, and they just want the outpost. Armel trying to bump them over, and he will find CML on the ledge. Now going after Boomy, but what a chance coming up from Boomy. He found two of them. Armel trapped up, goes down. KP does the same, and Tim's, he only had one leap charge. In fact, there's another. Looks like he will be able to outrun them.
The prize is mine.
But Adroit getting the better hand, or just getting the upper hand of TNC once again. It's 11-7 now. It just seems to be no slowing down for Adroit.
Yeah, the response from TNC has not been impressive to say the least. In fact, they might even find Tim's. What?
Yeah, they do. Pain Frost is there from CML. He just solos Tim's off.
This is just in stark contrast of the performance you expect from TNC. Like, don't get me wrong, Adroit is a great team as well. But TNC, most people would put on a different level, and right now they're just not finding that space that they want.
Natsumi gonna try and go after KP. They're going into 3 heroes
man.
right now, John. They just walk in and take him out. Now March is going down. Gabby comes in. Moonlight Shadow's there. They're gonna not do anything about it. I mean, the rotations came in from TNC, but it amounts to nothing.
And while all that happens, you give Max so much space to farm up. He's working his way towards his Radiance now. The timing is not amazing, but it's still gonna be there. It's almost like that laning phase just hasn't happened at all.
Bot lane, another engagement. Armel getting caught out this time around. Gabby, gotta be careful as Natsumi is chasing. They'll get the stun off. Gabby will find at least a kill onto Boomy. So you have one saving grace in that DK who's continuing to find these kills.
Invisibility.
They will end up stealing the outpost.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
But Natsumi is fairly close behind in net worth on Lifestealer. And like you said, Mac, he's had some free time now. He's slowly but surely climbing his way back up in terms of net worth. That whole early game advantage TNC had really won't be existent very soon.
Yeah, it's really just not what you'd expect. In fact, they might lose more.
Apparently they do. March will go down again.
Radiant's courier has been killed.
Tim's, he will find Natsumi's courier at the very least. There was just some clarities on there though. And so 16-8, 2k net worth lead for Adroit. It still seems to be an even game to say the least, just based on net worth. You've still got Gabby who's farming very, very well on the DK and could be a powerhouse later on.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
TNC, they've got to get some team fights going their way.
Are fortified.
Bok gonna chase down Tim's. He has the jewel available if he wants to try for it. He does not, however. Now a smoke, Adroit. Gonna run around. Who they're gonna go for? But they may head into that mid lane where KP is. KP at the very least is level 6, but hasn't skilled up borrowed time yet. He's just holding on to that skill point. Boomy will end up finding Tim's. The snowball will be there, but immediate leaps away in the Moonlight Shadow. Do they have detection? They dust up, but it's just too late. Tims does use his final leap charge to get away. Now Armel, understanding his positioning, will get the hell out of there. But look, you look at Mac, he's almost got that Radiance up now. It's not the fastest timing in the world, but it's certainly still going to be very effective in these engagements.
Yeah, the biggest issue is that even if Mac's timing is rough, you're having way too hard of a time here with your other cores from TNC side, that it really doesn't matter. Relatively, Mac is still doing quite well.
Well, yeah, the Radiance recipe is now on the way for him, so he'll have it up in just a second.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
KP gonna make his way to the mid lane. Meanwhile, up the top lane, there is a duel going on onto Tims, but there's no follow-up damage on this Mirana. Still, she doesn't have any lead charges available. They'll take the banner in away from her, and it looks like she will just light a Natsumi on the Lifestealer. In mid lane, they're trying to punish Mac, but Mac is punishing them back. KP now being chased down by this Alchemist. He won't actually use a stun quite yet, and KP just trying to get the hell out of there. But Mac's not done. Unstable concoction. KP, is he gonna throw it? No, not quite. But they'll just purge off the stun anyway. And they'll go straight up to that mid-tier 1 tower.
Yeah, and this is going to be a key tower for Adroit to take. Once that's cleared out, the jungle is not going to be very safe for TNC. And Adroit has the lineup to really abuse that. They've got the Tusk, they've got the Legion Commander, they've got the Lifestealer. These guys just fight early and fight fast. So without that key point of control, it's going to be much harder for TNC to escalate in their farm.
Well, Gabby at least has the Sergeant Yasha up now on the DK. TNC, when are they going to feel comfortable to try and get something done across the map? Boomy up at top lane with the Lifestealer Infest. Can he break the distance on Tims though with the snowball? I don't know if it'll be quick enough. They do, however, have bot coming in on the Legion Commander, and that could help with the duel. They will chase him down. Tims, 2 leap charges available. There's a snowball. Tims, he just commits the Moonlight Shadow, but it is not going to be enough. That is a lot of damage pretty darn quickly.
Yeah, you've got to respect the power coming out here. It's a lot of damage coming out. You have to remember it's up as well. It's max level tag team. It just means heroes really just melt at this point.
I mean, what do you think TNC need to do here? Like, are they doing the right thing by just farming up?
It's hard to say. I'd say yes and no. They definitely need more gold up on a few of their cores. At the same time, they've got to find a way to really force these fights in. They've kind of missed the window where Alchemist is kind of weak. If they still jump him 4v, say 5v1 or 4v1, with a gank like that, they could still finish off Mac. But at this point, you've got other issues. You've got a Legion Commander who's starting to escalate up a bit. You've got Natsumi on this Lifestealer who's 5-0 and just building up towards everything he wants. He's got his Desolator coming out right now, and that just means everyone is going to be dying that much faster up against this Lifestealer. So you've got issues to solve right now. I think the biggest thing for TNC was that the laning phase was way too rough. You still have KP trying to play recovery. I'm not sure if this farm investment on the Abaddon is gonna pay off. They're giving him some space in the jungle. He is a core. He does need farm, but he's so far behind. I'd say better off investing that on your Mirana or something else entirely.
Well, TNC, they're feeling a little bit confident right now. They've smoked up. They just got a blink on Gabby and they got a mech on Tims now. So that could be the difference in these engagements. Still, Infest is going to be there on Boomy. Boomy should break the smoke and should spot out Gabby, although they blink. Boomy, are you really going to try and TP right now? They'll connect the arrow Natsumi. He'll pop out straight away and aim for March. Though Gabby will take down Boomy on the Tusk. There's a 1-for-1 trade so far. Tims copying a fair bit, but Natsumi does not want any more of this. Looks like they'll back off, and here comes the cavalry Mac. Who's he in chase? Armel would be a very nice target on the leader. And it looks like that is exactly where they're all going. Armel, just kind of kiting them around. They'll get the duel off in the end, and Armel does end up going down. Meanwhile, Natsumi chasing down KP on the lifestealer. He does get arrowed up though from Tibbs from a mile away. Gabby just hits him straight away. Now they'll chase more. They think they can punish here, but Tibbs is falling low on the Mirana. They'll leave him being good for Gabby instead. Unstable concoction will be popped up. Gaze as well. They want KP, but there's the borrowed time coming out. Now the stun from Gabby onto the Lich, but the swap is there. CML. He will end up dropping. Now Gabby going for even more onto Boomy, but he doesn't have the damage output. Dragon Form has worn off, and it looks like TNC need to get the hell out immediately, though Tims, he's melting for that Radiance, but it's not quick enough. Meanwhile, Gabby finds Boomy on the task. And so TNC do win that team fight. It was a 2-for-3 trade with a dieback to the task. In fact, they're not even done. Gabby, he just steals the outpost straight after they take it. Or he's trying to anyway, before that 20-minute mark, and they do grab it.
Whew, that was a really good fight for TNC, but a really messy one for Adroit. TNC, they walked away with 2.5k gold going their way, pretty much negating Adroit's advantage there. Less than 1k left for Adroit, 20-12 at 20 minutes in. I mean, there were some key moments there for Adroit that they should have felt happy with, but they kept pushing the envelope, and in the end, it really doesn't pay off as they lose a bit more than they expect, although now, force a fight again, Mac has a heart up and running, so he has a heart and radiance up, so that's going to be a much tougher alchemist to kill. It's the point still stands though. Like, that was a fight that did bring TNC back in the game. They've got a lot more to go with. They've got a good amount of EXP and gold here, and that does give them a lot more to try to take these fights with.
Looks like we might see a smoke again coming out from Adroit. In fact, we will. Another infest on Boomy. Where are you going though? They go down to the bot lane, hoping someone's trying to push out the wave, but nobody's there from TNC. They are up towards the mid, and we do have a pause coming out from Mac. Appears to have disconnected. But while he was farming up at the top lane, he does have the full Shadow Blade up now as well, so you've got some decent initiation, and once he's got that Silver Edge, suddenly all that armor on the DK isn't going to be as much of a factor.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a scary moment once that item's up. Of course, even then, I don't think it's actually going to be... It's not really a massive issue since Natsumi already has that Desolator, so they already had ways to deal with that DK. And the only thing is they really needed to try to pin him down. Their focus was kind of scattered. But as you mentioned, just having that Silver Edge up and running in Mac just means that he really will be pretty much a non-factor as long as that break is enabled. And once that is up and running, it's just going to make it much harder for TNC to try to take it.
TNC, Moonlight Shadow. As Gabby jumps straight in after CML. They'll purge off the stun and now try to turn around onto the DK. In fact, the duel is there in time, but do they have the damage output? It is going to be there in the end. They won't get the victory, but it doesn't matter. They found the hero. They'll go after KP now on the Abaddon. And poor KP has had a tough game. He's going to be slowed down by that Frost Shield, and Natsumi will use the open wounds. Borrowed time, at the very least he is wasting time from the side of Adroit, but it isn't going to matter because he is going to die.
It's just a little snow.
Gabby, I mean, it was a good initiation, but just the counter initiation from Adroit was way too quick.
Yeah, it's all on Boomy just immediately snowballing when he saw that jump in. That did really just take out all the wind from TNC's sails, and that is going to cost them the Rosh Pit as well, although they are TPing in to try to contest.
Certainly are. Tims will throw an arrow out and we'll get Vision. March. We know how low the Roshan is, but look at Mac. He runs straight out of the pit looking for a target. He knows March is there and gets the stun off, takes a courier down as well. The Roshan is still so down low, but they want the bench kill first and they will be able to grab it now. Tims again scouting out the Roshan, but I don't think they can go for this any longer. The The Aegis will be given to the way of Adroit, and looks like Natsumi will be the one to pick it up.
Radiant's top tower
Yeah,
is
it's a
under
big
attack.
win for Adroit. They find one nice kill. They get the Aegis as well, and that does give them a lot more leeway in these fights. Still fairly even in terms of map control. I'd say you might even give TNC a slight edge since they do have that tier 1 down bot. But it's not a major factor anymore. The key thing is reaching those outposts. They have traded hands a fair bit, and Adroit does secure that top outpost for themselves now. They should be able to get some space going for themselves. Now, they are slowly working up towards that AC on Natsumi, and once that's up, he's going to be much harder to deal with. You are really going to be entirely dependent on magic damage to basically burn this Lifestealer down at that point. And even with that, you're really just riding off the back of your Lina in that case.
Well, now you've got the Silver Edge there on the Arc as well, so Gabby really not going to be as tanky as you would hope.
Can't outrun.
Look at Armel's farm on the Lina and just doesn't seem impressive whatsoever. He just isn't able to get much done in these engagements. We see another smoke coming out from Adroit. Moving off to top lane, it seems. TNC are aware of this though, and they will use the Moonlight Shadow. Like they're heading down to the bot lane where Bok does steal the outpost, and now dust is there from Boomy. Oh. Well, the Mirana Tim's pretty darn low. Natsumi, can he burst him down? Not quite.
Got it.
We'll take that. The prize is mine.
Mel gazes there from CML, but he can't get there to get the bounty rune. Instead, though, Matt will come in. Mel will miss the stun on the Elk. With the Chain Frost down, and Mel is gone. Meanwhile, bot lane KP is being chased down by Boomy and Natsumi. Tims is there to try and help out, but I don't think there's any saving KP in this situation. He tries to body block them up, but there's the Walrus Punch coming in. Still another Aphotic Shield. KP slowed down and gets taken out. Meanwhile, mid as well, there's more action going on as CML's being chased down, but Gabby apparently cannot get a hit uphill. With that, he finally gets up there, does find the damage, and so they'll find a Lich for their problem. In fact, they get an arrow up onto the Legion Commander as well, so Bok gonna end up losing his life. It's a bit of an unfortunate situation for the Legion, just running into the arrow.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Yeah, not the best circumstance. You did see that Tim's managed to get an item from that as well from clearing that camp. So he's got the Helm of the Undying now, which means he has a bit more utility even after that killing blow. Should be able to get some work done for his allies in that case. At the very least, maybe launch another Storm before being down, or if the timing's right, another Sacred Arrow just for that added control. Is going to help the cause here for TNC. Still looking a bit rough. 25-14, 3k lead still for Adroit, excuse me. Which isn't that massive considering that there is an out. You want that gap to be higher, but it's still looking okay here. Oh.
Just bursts down and gets rid of the Aegis on Natsumi. That was pretty easy. Can they find Mac on the Elk? He's just way much tackier. The invest will be there on Mac, and Mac will just get to work on that tier 2 tower. This Alchemist is currently sitting at 5k HP almost.
Yeah, I think that's an early heart for you.
Natsumi investing though does certainly help. And looks like they will back off after that mid tier 2. Where are they headed now? Mac trying to go after Tims for the top lane, but Tims will try and fight back a bit. In fact, Mac doesn't even care about the Mirana, he just wants the farm. TNC still holding on. I mean, there's a 4k net worth lead for the side of Adroit, but it's been that way for quite a while now.
Yeah, that's really down to the fact that Adroit is playing with an Alch. So that does look like a big lead. You have to remember, most of that is riding on the Alchemist, and Mac, he's been playing quite well. You really expect a bit of a bigger lead from an Alchemist at this point in 28 minutes, and you'd want that to be a higher figure. He's been kind of forced to walk around and try to join these fights, though, so his farm hasn't been as high as it could be. It definitely needs to still keep escalating, though. Natsumi is still trying to build up as well. Looks like he should... Yeah, there you go. The AC is up for Natsumi, so that does help the cause quite a fair bit. Gonna boost up everyone's tankiness there and really make it easier to deal with TNC's heroes.
Well, we'll see a smoke coming out from Adroit. There is an Aghanim Scepter and a BKB up now for the side of TNC. So Armel with the BKB, and you do see the Ags onto KP. You do have that miscoil, those miscoils coming out throughout the borrowed time. Boomy gonna break the smoke, jump straight in onto KP. They're at that outpost though. Natsumi, who does he go for? He's just chasing down March. They've already found one in the tusk. An immediate buyback coming out from Boomy. No one else from Adroit has really died yet. In fact, March is somehow still alive on the bench. And Mac, he's actually falling very, very low right now. He's gone.
Oh, man.
Just out of nowhere, they just melt him and now... Oh.
Oh, man. Oh, no. No. Oh, that didn't happen.
No, nobody saw that.
No.
Nobody saw it, March. Don't worry about it.
Whoa, you could see it, dude. You could see what he was trying to do. You know his mouse was over one hero, and it hit the other one. You know it. You know you'd be pissed at that. Oh man.
It's all Gabby's fault.
Radiant's bottom tower.
Still though, TNC stacking themselves up quite nicely here. Drop that network lead from Adroit to less than 1k, which again is not substantial considering that they're playing against an Alk. Adroit has an Alk. They've only got a 1k network lead. It's rough, alright? You want that to be higher. TNC now is at the point where their other cores are really farmed up. They're ahead of Natsumi, especially with, you know, Gabby's DK has been on point. He's got his own AC, so the minus armor from Natsumi isn't as potent anymore. Yeah, it's not as massive as you'd expect, and they are managing to find ways to control up Mac, who has most of the gold for Adroit, so his impact has been held back. He hasn't gone for any defensive items on his Alk as well. No BKB up. That just makes it much harder to stand in the middle of these team fights and basically get the job done. He's gonna need to invest in something defensive like that. Otherwise, we're just gonna see him get bursted down really fast as we have before.
Do you see Abby going for an Ags on the DK? Because that Black Dragon does seem pretty darn amazing. Especially considering he is going to need some massive damage output going into the late game.
I think you could go for it. You would have to maybe synthesize it though. Definitely not going to be slotting it up, which means that is going to be for the later point of the game. Maybe once he's 6 slotted up and he's going to be comfy with that, that's when you probably pop the Aghanims in. Otherwise, I don't think it's really pertinent at this point. They're doing quite fine without it. He is going for an MKB next, which I think is a really safe choice, especially since you are playing against that blind chance on the Alchemist. So having that is going to make his DPS much more consistent, and it's a safer bet overall. The Ags, again, probably going to come out later if it does come out, but I don't think we're going to see it in the next few minutes.
Roshan will be scouted up by TNC. Shant will get vision as well. The Alpha Wolf copying it, does get bashed and looks like it may lose its life, though no, it will survive just barely. A smoke will be there from TNC though.
Dire are scanning.
Take the outpost, TNC. Both outposts in their favor once again. Yeah. Be a swamp, but they do find the task now. Just burst out Boomy, get rid of that annoying snowball, but he does get the snowball off. March will cop it, and Boomy is just making a complete run for it. They will swap him back and do take him out. Now that they found anybody else, they got off the Alchemist, the stun. Arrow to follow as well, but they'll just purge all that off. Another stun from the bench now, but he's still so darn tanky. Legion jumps down, Natsumi jumps in. They will lose another in the form of the Legion Commander, and now CML goes down. And suddenly TNC look to be on top of this game.
Radiant's top tower.
Yeah, it's just down to the fact that Adroit, they had a pretty massive lead. They threw that away with that one top fight, and then suddenly you're stuck at fairly even net worth, but you've got the Alchemist soaking up all the farm on your side for Adroit. And, you know, it's not down to Mac. Mac has been playing pretty well. I think his itemization definitely has hurt Adroit's team fight. I think not having that early BKB has mitigated his impact in these fights. At the same time, TNC's just managed to close out that net worth disadvantage quite well. They've got the 4K lead now at 25-19 at 33 minutes in, which means your Alchemist is just not giving you much of a gold advantage. He's not giving you any sort of gold advantage anymore. So you've got all that gold riding on one hero that isn't even significantly more farmed than any hero on TNC's side, which just means TNC, they've got the fire back in the tank. They've got a lot of fuel to burn now, and they have shrunk the map down. Adroit, they've got to find a way back in here. We haven't seen that aggression we wanted to see for a while. They were really aggressive in the early to mid. They've got to try to find these jumps with Bach much more often.
TNC just maintaining control of that Radiant side jungle. For another opening. They just hold on to that high ground, though. Looks like Tim's will TP down and ensure the outpost is not stolen prior to that 35-minute mark. So again, Adroit going to be denied a lot of XP.
The prize is
TNC
mine.
will take all of it. You are getting to that point now where a lot of heroes are going to start getting close to that the 30 level mark. CR Mel at level 24. Of course, you've got Gabby at level 25 now. Mac has fallen behind a little bit in XP, level 23 on the Alchemist. That level 30 mark, John, you get all your talents up. It does become a little bit ridiculous.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be really big on, I want to say Gabby probably has the best from both trees. Just all that utility and all that durability coming out with that is gonna be massive, especially his level 20. Having both the 20% cooldown reduction and the strength is just kind of wild. So he's gonna have much better uptime on the dragon form, which allows him to just push a bit safer and take these fights much safer, which is gonna be a big boom here for TNC if it does go that late.
Butterfly now up on Mac.
Ooh, but the
Does still have buyback hold for himself.
Radiant's
Take down the
top
tier 3 tower.
tower.
Gabby just gonna go straight after the Raxes now and can hit him from a mile away. He comes Natsumi, but look at Gabby, he's copying literally no damage. He's just out healing it all. Now they get the swap up onto Mac. The stun is there as well. He needs some help. The infest from the Life Stealer will be there onto Mac. Still though, it looks like they may lose Boomy on the Tusk, and they will. CML as well falling quite low and does go down. They'll try to chase March, but he gets out of there safely. Now he's down to less than half HP and he is going to go down. The buybacks do come out, but Gabby just takes no damage.
And that was the biggest part in that fight, was the moment Mac got his butterfly, Gabby had his MKB on board as well. So that item advantage just wasn't there. Literally the same moment when that item came in, Gabby had his MKB. So that counterfight just did not work the way that Adroit wanted it to, because they thought they had an item advantage. It turns out they didn't because of Gabby's timing, and that cost them one set of racks, a hell lot of buybacks. It's going to make the next set of pushes really hard to contest from Adroit, but they've got to find a way to hold out. They need to get the fights that they want. The issue is they don't have any separate initiation tool from Bach. They haven't been able to isolate one hero and really bully it with their roaming burst potential with a Lifestealer, a Legion Commander, and a Tusk. They really made great use of that in the first 15 minutes. And then it just really tapered off. They haven't built up the damage you'd expect from Bach. He had a great start. He only has 18 dual damage. Like, that's not what you want to be seeing from a Legion Commander at 38 minutes in.
Now get started with that bot Rax. Getting Natsumi, tries to go into Gabby. Gabby just stands there and takes it like a man. Arrow will connect on Natsumi in the backline. It's a 5-second arrow, but there will be no follow-up to it. Still though, they just found the racks and they'll back off. No need to overextend if you are TNC. Gabby though will come back in. He's still got time on the dragon form. Moonlight Shadow will be popped on Natsumi. He's gonna walk in again. And Gabby just stands there once again. Doesn't care.
Radiant's bottom is falling.
Just no damage. The damage isn't there. Natsumi can go up and right-click Gabby, and Gabby doesn't even right-click back. And Gabby just doesn't care. He's not losing any AP.
He really isn't. He'll have a moonshot up pretty soon as well. And at this rate, Adroit's just going to lose their final set of racks just because they can't kill anything.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
So they will find a double damage now. Gabby will take the bottle from Armel and bottle that up. Outposts, the earlies are being taken from Adroit, so they want a bit of XP for themselves. They understand they are starting to fall behind. In fact, you have a look at those hero levels. You've got a level 26 DK and a level 25 Lena. And after that, it's Mac on level 23. In fact, somehow KP's gotten to level 22. Considering the start he had, that should not be happening.
Oh yeah, and you've got the Ags up now on Gabby as well. So it's sitting in its backpack, but he's got that option available. It's gonna make that push, the fights much harder to take for Adroit. And it's just worrying here.
Very, very scary indeed. And there he pops the Ags in now. So now with that additional magic resist that he has, kind of like, what are you going to do about it? Pops the DD.
Shadows take us.
Moonlight Shadow will be there. We would have seen Natsumi in the mid lane, but he will get out of there safely. Take the time with this. I mean, I think they're waiting for the next Roshan. That's fair enough. In fact, maybe not. Gabby, gonna go ahead and clear out that mid wave. Pop the dragon form. He just made. The rest of his team are coming to back him up. So the Alpha Wolf there as well. There it is. There's the Black Dragon coming out. Gabby
Oh man.
has free pathing now, John. He doesn't care about cliffs anymore. And that tower is melted thanks to him and Armel.
Oh my god.
What do you do about this? How do you kill the Black Dragon? Natsumi, he's gonna walk in. Gabby is ignoring him completely. No respect being given to the Lifestealer. And now they found Boomy on the task. He will snowball. They try again. They break the dragon, but nothing happens.
Oh man.
Snowball, Gabby. He's just going to keep right-clicking away. Again, just ignoring the heroes, John. He takes...
There's no damage.
There's no damage at all. He's just surviving everything they're throwing him. Now he'll take down the Lifestealer. And well, if you can't kill the heroes, you can't win the game. Mac gets stunned up. Double LFA as well, and it's just over. I would call GG as well.
Look, it was a good start for Adroit. They had a really excellent start. It looked like they shut down TNC from lane fees. KP.
Trapion is going to be critical in this game. Like, like, don't get me wrong, he's great at this single target kickoff, but when you get to the late game scenario, you're looking at this Tiny as your primary constant output of damage.
Yeah, for sure. Which, he's got a Blink Dagger queued up, which I think is the right call. Although Ursa is so far behind, he doesn't really have anyone to play with him.
He's looking for someone to play with right now, but he's being ignored completely. So he's just going to TPOS, like, see ya. You haven't got a bash, you haven't got any control, and really, Innocence is reluctant to play unless he is 3+ heroes.
Yeah, either that.
There it is, the 3+ smoke.
Or try to take it into a push. Might be angling for top tier 1 now.
They've got the Veil, so they can do a lot of damage. You can already see nothing to say is going to go into the Dagon build next. DUI. Living up to his name. It does in fact say die, and that's what he'll do. And as you said, just pivot into a push. They're going to wrap around, actually, because Paparazzi, he's hanging around.
They glyphed him, so they
line.
really did not want this wave to die with the catapults. So I don't know if Vici are going to challenge this or if they'll just mirror the movement, because it looks like Ori is ready to fight. But he's also extremely close to his BKB, so he may just want to wait that one out. And oh, Ring of Aquila and
Oh, the Aquila.
Feels good, man.
Is under attack.
Oh, this is the dream.
It's the dream.
Fans, basically. I remember when anti-mages, just before they got rid of poor good old Aquila, they were doing the double Aquila builds.
Yep.
And that's when you knew it was going. That was like, okay, it's done. It was dead. Goodbye. And it makes its return as a measly tier 2 item. And eHome, they haven't even found it. No, they haven't even found a tier 2 item yet. They haven't even found all their tier 1s. There we go. They finally got the 3rd item.
Cane Ring. Philosophy.
Oh, there we straight away. There we go. He was stacking his odds. Greedy, but it works. Probably the dream item to give across to Innocent.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think like it would be nice to Luna, but she's doing a decent chunk of extra damage here.
Yeah. And there were Vampire Fangs in the Morphling's backpack, which there are still Vampire Fangs in the Morphling backpack. I feel like...
I think that's good on the Gyro, right?
Yeah, but Gyro's kind of slot starved right now. What they really... Like, both of them really want Vambraces so badly. Both him and the Morphling.
Hey, let's not get too greedy here, right?
Yeah,
the Vampire Fangs are good. Ah, now the secondary stats. People's gift for an Agi carry. That should be Ori's item.
Yeah, for sure. Oh no, your shovel's on cooldown, PYW. What do you... There we go. Oh man, that's like the 3rd salve he's picked up.
I kind of really frustrate people in games with this shovel right now because I'll just drop the salves casually around the map every time. No one can use them, right?
You're littering.
Okay, I like subconsciously pick them up and then drop them. So I'm the worst type of person because no one else can use the salves at that point. I don't mean to do it, but then I realized that I remember I was playing with Kips the other night and our fountain was littered. There was like 8-10 salves in there alongside neutral items, and every time she'd click anywhere, she'd pick up salves. You know, pick up your litter, guys.
The worst kind of person.
I'm sorry, I just, you know, it's instinct, right? Something shiny on the ground, I'm a clicker.
Pick it up.
I blame Ice Frog, you know, he's not made salves available to just be picked up and used by anyone else. Oh, Patience in the bot lane. Because you know Innocence wants to push this with the wards, and now they're chasing. The Hex is going to come out, but what, now what do? You're a shaman. If you turn around, you're dead. There it is. I dare you to shackles me, he says, because I'm coming with the duel. Look at the flat cannon, the double value. I'm just going to farm up the Nether Ward as well.
And that is now the 3rd duel that Yang has won solely off of the lead, off of the shaman, and now Vambrace online.
18 minutes in as well.
Wow.
Okay, there we go. Nothing to say. He found a great item, Vampire's Fang on this hero. Great. He's going to use it probably to farm more, right?
Yep.
No, he's going to make a play. He's going to make a play now. We're going to see it from the Pugna.
Wait, he gave
This is the moment. Oh, I mean, you got clips, but...
And now he gave it to the Ursa. Is Vampire Fang really
yeah,
better than
it's the
Broomhandle?
free Morbid Mask. Morbid Mask, right?
I suppose.
Plus, think about that sweet lifesteal nerf book. Barrel roll in, it's like a mini heal. No, I'm going to stop. Not a thing. But yeah, it's just a free life still. And eventually he'll give it back to Luna, I reckon.
Yeah, I mean...
He was holding onto the broom handle for some reason.
The bonus night vision on top of her already bonus night vision. Great. Spot out. Legion Commander.
Oh yeah, jump in. DY. Will Glimmer Cape away and instead Legion spotted out. Press the attack pretty early, but Ori zones the entirety E-Home away. The BKB online. Innocence. I saw a lot of those type of wards yesterday. The screw it, I'm dead anyway ones. It doesn't stop anything though. Faith Beyond, Avalanche to the high ground might stop the Legion, but he's so tanky, moves in. A lot of Couriers are dying in the meantime on the side of Vici. Yang, chasing deeper, has got the duel. Faith Beyond the target, but the Eclipse jumps out the buyback as well. Luna stay alive long enough for most of her Eclipse, courtesy of the Glimmer Cape. Gets maximum value, but it has no impact. And the duel coming out, that's a third dead on the side of E-Home as Vici strike, and they strike hard.
That was not the Decrepify. They go off on the Legion Commander to start the entire fight near the Roche pit, and they toss her up, and then that already makes it difficult for Ursa to get some attacks, and then Pugna Decrepifies Dagons with a level 1 Dagon and starts life training. The Legion Commander's like, great, I will use this time that none of your teammates can right-click me to walk away, and then I will press the attack as soon as I'm in safe territory to take off the Decrepify. So Legion Commander doesn't die at all, and then you've blown a great deal of initiation on a hero who is still going to remain useful. Gyrocopter re-emerges into the fight, and while a bunch of couriers do die from Vici Gaming, it was still, yet again, failed initiation from E-Home.
Yeah, and look at Yang's damage now. That's why Roche was so quick. I mean, it's not the only reason, but an extra 66 damage. You saw the power of Legion
21
in the fights.
minutes, that's crazy.
This is, I mean, he's queued up a halberd. I'm fine if he right away goes armlet or some sort of right-click iron, because he is one of the physical carries now this team.
Yeah, he's still got a Morphling on his team, though. There's no rush for him to start to take the game into his own hands, and Eurus does end up opting for the shotgun after the Lincoln Sphere, which I was not sold by the Aghanim Scepter. At most, he would probably be the highest priority synth if we get to like the third Roche. But I don't think the Gyrocopter really warrants it, especially with the advantage that they have right now. Morphling has not joined in like a single fight, and they're still winning each team fight pretty handily. So I think they're fine on team front. I mean team fight.
Absolutely. And now they'll be fine on outpost. They move to phase 1 bot. It's not the 5-minute mark though. That won't change too much. And Salah can always capture this one top, although he needs to be careful because they can TP.
He has his BKB freshly
Does
configured.
have a BKB. Yeah, but that's not the way you want to use a 10-second. Here's in the meantime, we'll take this tier 1 bot, make sure E-Home get a little bit starved out and hard to get in there. Now the duel coming out, straight away the Shaman, who's seen it before, and we'll see it again. That's another duel with 92 damage on this level 18 Legion Commander. And there's the tree gone. Goodbye.
And they dig on its
I was
grave.
wondering. And take the mangoes. That's the final piece, right? This is like your survival game experience. You know, where they just kind of like, they kill you and take all your loot.
Yeah, my man's playing Rust out here.
It's like, oh, well, I only had a rock.
Dire's bottom tower has
Now I have mangoes.
And now Eurus has an E-Blade as well as his Pupil's Gift. So that is, oh boy. Well, I guess Pupil's Gift isn't that great for a Morphling with an E-Blade. It's only secondary.
I mean, it's very good for Agi heroes though, right? Because it's strength and it's skin.
True.
Nice CP top. The ping's coming out. They look the wrong way. Well, no, they don't. This is Eurus. What am I talking about? He's looking at the creeps all the time. He'll start E-blading creeps like, guys, it's quick.
TNC Predators turn to ban.
Exactly, they throw in there to combine with that.
Certainly so. Caught TNC, they went straight back to the Lena, so a very standard opening from them. They go back to the same 2 heroes. Won't be the exact same draft though, as the Abaddon was banned out by Adroit, so they don't want KP back on that. But one more ban for either side before we see where these drafts are going to be headed. TNC, they did get rid of the TA themselves as that 4th ban out. And they'll get rid of the Alchemist, so they don't want to have to deal with that once again. And it was quite a painful experience for the first half of the game. Mac was being rather infuriated. Just no matter how many times they tried to shut the man down, he just seemed to catch up every single time. So no more of these shenanigans from the Alchemist. And Adroit, one more ban for them, and well, like you said, the Dragon Knight is still there if TNC wanted to go back to it.
5
Yeah, I
seconds
wouldn't blame
remaining.
them if they went back to it. The laning against Puck might be a bit wonky, might be a bit hard for the first 3 levels. Once you have a little bit more in your Dragon Blood, you should be okay. Of course, it could always go with something like the Lena mid instead, anyway, for TNC. Oh.
Well, the Undying will come out. We have seen the Undying being banned quite a bit by most teams, but this time around, Adroit will have the option to pick it up. How do you feel the hero is, though, in this patch? Like, we haven't seen too much of it as of yet.
It's hard to say, right? The ultimate
10
definitely got
seconds
way
remaining.
up, got buffed up way up. His laning phase is still pretty much the
5
same.
seconds remaining.
The emphasis on the ult being a bit better now, being a bit stronger with the strength gain you get and damage amp. I'm still on the fence. I play a lot of Undying. I still haven't touched him this patch. And I don't feel like touching him. Yeah, mainly because his main weakness with his kit is that past laning phase, you're just kind of there. You have impact, yes, but if you're behind, then you're really not going to be doing as much as you'd expect. With his ult, of course, he can do a bit more. He can be that tanky frontliner now and really be a nuisance for the enemy team, but overall, I think his main weaknesses are still there. We'll see how Adroit does play around that. TNC, they picked themselves up the Chen. Now, this hero has been popping in and out quite a fair bit, and it is still quite effective, especially with the jungle changes. You can get a lot more going for yourself with a Chen. A lot of that early aggression can come out as well when you get a good
10
creep, so
seconds
we'll see how exactly TNC maximizes his pick. I already like this lineup from
5
TNC just a bit
seconds
more. Adroit, you know, they've got the Undying, great laning presence early on, sure. They've got the Puck, really slippery hero, hard to deal with. LC just scales up quite fast. But they look like they do lack a bit of control in the laning phase, and they definitely need to find a support to really tie it in for them with this Undying. Unless it's going to be a core Undying, which I wouldn't be too surprised, but I also kind of feel like it's not the best choice right now.
Certainly not. Adroit, 4th pick for them now. They do require another support unless they run the position for Puck. I highly doubt that. What do you go for here? You know both supports already there from TNC. Chen may have put a bit of a spanner in the works here for Adroit. You do have to play against just around the Chen. You can't really ignore it. Use quite a bit of reserve time for this 4th pick. I wonder, I mean, do you go for the Lifestealer again for Natsumi? Like, he had a pretty good game to start.
You could. I mean, you have a natural vehicle in the Puck this time instead of the Tusk. That could work out. They go back to the Gyro.
Yeah, you don't like this at all. I don't
we've-
like it at all. I don't see the point of this.
Or we've seen the hero come out even in this patch. And I could understand in the last patch, you know, it was still a stable core despite all the nerfs. I think in this patch, but how much the game has changed, I think Gyrocopter has taken a step back. I don't think it's an amazing hero as it is right now. I think the stats do reflect that. I think overall in the qualifiers so far, across all qualifiers, I think he has something like a 48% win rate, something close to that. So it's not completely terrible, but it's not as game-winning as it once was when you instantly pick that Gyro. It's going to be an interesting run here for Adroit.
Radiant team back.
It does look a bit greedy, but again, the game has kind of allowed greed to seep in. TNC, they pick up Void, and we talk about the issues with the Void earlier on, but we saw Raven play amazingly at it. I think TNC is the exact same kind of team. They can play around that Chronosphere cooldown quite well. That Chronosphere is going to be a massive issue. They should be able to
10
try to find that
seconds
farm. If Adroit can apply that pressure with their early presence with the Undying, with the Gyrocopter, it would be hard for the Void to farm up. But TNC, they've got the Lena, they've got the Venge, they've got the Chen to help this Void out. So it's going to be a hard task to slow down the Void in this game. But it's already an interesting clash of cores here. Gyrocopter online much more often, but really kind of left behind in this patch. Whereas Void has gotten a few changes
10
and
seconds remaining.
is still highly effective because he has that massive teamfight control that you can always
5
rely on.
seconds remaining.
Absolutely. One more ban though before both teams finish off these drafts. We saw the Magnus ban coming out from Adroit. TNC. What are you thinking here? It does seem like Adroit, they are probably going to run the mid park. So you'd imagine the last pick of Adroit would be a support, unless again you run that support park, which is still viable. I believe we may have seen it yesterday.
Could be an offlane puck as well. That is an option there for Adroit.
Predators turn to pick.
They seem to believe it will be a support puck, perhaps. They do ban out the Invoker, they'll pick up the Marana once again, so... Is this a Tim's Marana? Is this a mid Marana? I doubt it's mid Marana, right? Should be a mid leaner. Perhaps an offlane Venge we're seeing from KP?
I mean, could go either way. That's one of the things with TNC's draft. It's very flexible. I mean, we've even seen the offlane Chen before, so that's an option if they want to do that. Adroit, they close out. Oh my god, okay, they go with a Brood.
They did it.
All right.
TNC.
Okay. See, that one I'm a bit wonky on, mainly because TNC, they do have ways of clearing out those spiderlings early on. Lina does a fantastic job. Venge drops her armor quite a fair bit. Marana can clear them out quite well as well. So you've got these tools to deal with the massive unit spawn that is going to come out of Adroit. But Adroit, if they get that snowball start, if they start clearing out those objectives, with the lineup they have, which comes online really fast, they can start to shut down TNC from the early game. So I like this shakeup from Adroit. It is much more focused on that early to mid game. They want to take those objectives fast. They want to apply pressure from the laning phase straight up without them dying. And that might make all the difference here for Adroit. TNC, it's a bit more of a standard draft. They've got some timings to play around. They've really got to make sure Gabby has a good time on that Void. And Gabby has to make sure he uses those Chronospheres as soon as they're up.
Be interesting. See how Adroit does manage to pull this off. Of course, Mac being up against Mel and the Lina. I imagine Armel won't have too much issues clearing out those spiderlings from the Brood. Shouldn't be too much of an issue. We'll find out though. The game should be starting pretty soon. TNC, one game ahead so far. They're trying to 2-0 the side of Adroit. Try and tie out this series if they possibly can. TNC, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe they still do have the ability to get kind of in the bias.
Yeah, definitely. They've still got a pretty solid chance to shove themselves up there. Really would like to go to the majors instead of having to fight through the minors to get in there. So every win counts. TNC, they want to close this out, but it's much more pertinent for Adroit to secure this tie. If they don't, it's a harder road for them to pull back out of that lower spot in this group.
Well, we'll find out how they do perform in this game number 2. Adroit certainly not going to roll over for the side of TNC.
Prepare for battle.
But still, I'd love to see how this gyrocopter does turn out, because again, we've talked about it. It does seem so weak in this patch. We'll see if Natsumi has a bit of a game plan for this. So they might even run a trial for Natsumi just to make sure he can secure as much farm as possible, because it does seem so important for these gyros now. He should be able to just keep Bok in the offlane by himself as that Legion commander anyway, because he has so much to sustain on this hero. KP gonna say hello. Arrow going out from Tim's, but it doesn't connect. Now homing missile will follow KP. They will connect that. Orb didn't really hit, but KP looking to get pretty darn low, and this is gonna be first blood going in the way of Adroit.
First blood.
Yeah, that's a great start for Adroit. A bit of a wonky fight coming out from TNC. They did not time the arrow or the missile quite well there, and that does cost him. KP not gonna be glad about that. Already a bit of a rough time for him. I mean, he had a rough time last game, right? He went 0-4 in lane, 0-5 in the laning phase, and he definitely wants a better performance than that this time around.
Well, it's gonna be a 2-for-2 train on the bounty, so an even start in that regard. So far, they are going to maintain this tri lane. That puck does hit so darn hard, just with the right clicks alone. CML with the decay. It's going to be a rough lane for TNC once again. Still though, you look up to that top lane. I mean, while Bok won't really die too easily, like, Gabby shouldn't really struggle finding any sort of farm in the safe lane either.
Yeah, there's no way you apply enough pressure to make Void uncomfy enough. On top of that, you have March watching out for him anyway, so it's going to be very hard for Bok to really apply as much pressure as he'd want. The best thing he can do is just try to get some farm for himself by getting these pulls going.
Bok gonna go for the pull straight off the bat. Arch will try to punish a little bit, but won't really be able to do too much up against Bok. Of course, looking over that mid lane, Mel and Mac going up against each other. Mac gonna need a few levels before he can really start to snowball with this Broodmother. But Mel shouldn't have too many issues clearing out those waves of Spiderlings with the Dragon Slave and LSA. We'll see how well Mac can micro those Spiderlings though.
That wasn't too bright.
I may be faceless, but I'm not maceless.
You can see already starting with the old chat.
KP.
KP going down once again. CML and Boomy just chasing him down, and Tims wasn't actually around the area at the time to help out. He's trying to farm up the jungle. It's going to be the second death for KP, and unfortunately looking to be a bit of a repeat of what happened in Game 1 to him. Not that it mattered in Game 1, but it's going to be rough. Tri-lane won't really get any easier as time goes on either.
Nah, definitely not. You just... For all the faults in the Adroit's draft, they really are quite strong this laning phase. You already see CML's presence has been a massive nuisance for KP. He hasn't been able to contest Natsumi's farm at all. Natsumi level 3, KP still stuck at level 1.
We've seen this before. KP needs one creep to hit level 2, but it looks like he won't be getting that anytime soon. In fact, they're just trying to contest over those jungle creeps. The Chen creep just there from the side of TNC to help out with this jungle. And K level 2 off. Still though, no shutting down Natsumi on this gyrocopter, who's basically free farming right now.
Yeah, the big issue here for TNC is that last time KP was shafted, you kind of saw Adroit kind of shaft Bok, but this time around Bok is doing just fine in this off lane. He's finding some farm, he's getting the EXP. Very different story from what KP is going through down here.
Still a concern though, right, that Gabby is free farming on the Void. I mean, he's second in last hits, only second to his own laner. Adroit's not really paying the respect to Gabby on this Void, it seems like.
Yeah, we have seen what happens when you give a Void free farm, and I'm sure Gabby can, you know, put out the same performance we saw from Raven. It's just heroes like this that they tend to play quite well on, so you don't want to give Gabby this much space at the same time. You know, you really want a good start in the gyro. I think that's a bigger issue here, is that Gyrocopter just needs that excellent start, especially with, again, how the patch has kind of treated him. You want the gyro to just have that good start.
Well, there's Tims once again. He will find a courier, this time in the mid lane. Mac did manage to get his soul ring before that courier died anyway, so he's not going to mind too much. But that does mean that Armel can harass the hell out of Mac and ensure he can't bring any regen out. So Armel's going to be a little careful about those Spiderlings as well. But he will just commit Dragon Slave and Mac will have to force them back.
Oh, KP.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Just a deep dive there.
Yeah, it's a very deep dive indeed. There is a TP coming in from Tims to try and help out. It looks like CML doesn't plan to back off anytime soon on the Undying. You still see Boomy looping around behind in the Dire side jungle. Look at Armel, but Armel is quite healthy on the laner. They may just go for a bit of a fight over these 5-minute bounty runes. The spot out march on the Chen.
Dire's middle tower is under attack. Dire's structures
Tims does manage to take at least one of the boundaries down at the bot lane. It will be a 2-for-2 trade in the end of the 5-minute mark though. So both teams finding an equal trade. Nothing too special happening, no fights either.
I have to say the impact of March's Chen has been less than I expected. I expected a bit more in and out with jungle creeps. He is focusing on just kind of building up for himself now, which is fair enough. We've seen a lot of Chens really do this as well. It is really slowing down the progression for TNC on the side lane. So again, you have Gabby just 1v1ing up against Bok, which is fine. Gabby should be able to find his farm, but you're not slowing down the LC. Then down bot, you have issues with your off lane. This tri lane is just kind of starving every single hero of EXP, while the opposing core just finds free farm. So all of these moves are kind of building up towards something, but it's a slow start for TNC for sure.
You're gonna orb out of there. KP has hit the level 3 mark now, so got a few levels on this bench. Problem is that Natsumi is at level 5 now on the gyrocopter. In terms of net worth, is at the top of the board, so this free farm definitely paying off so far for Adroit. TNC really have no way to shut him down. Looks like they'll just have to be comfortable with leaving him be. Speaking of, Mac, mid lane, going after Armel, but March is there to help out. Mac is falling somewhat low, and there's a Dragon Slave to drop him even lower, but he will manage to get the hell out of there. Looks like he'll have to relegate himself back into the jungle for a bit. This Brood hasn't farmed the best so far. 2.6k net worth. Wouldn't say this is really the best Brood game so far. I mean, he hasn't really found a tier 1 tower either yet. We still are very early in, but it seems like this Brood into the Lina pick, I'm not sure if it's going to end up paying off for them.
Yeah, it's a rough one, right? It's always going to be a rough time for Mac, I think, especially without Lina. They are holding out, and we have seen some slow Brood starts that tend to build up anyway. And Mac isn't exactly shut out just yet, so he has some room to get himself going, especially if he hits a good timing on the Aghanims.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
That's exactly what he's rushing for. Meanwhile, you look back up to that top lane, and Bok and Gabby are just trading farm once again. Gabby, of course, is quite further ahead on the Void, but Bok's not really going to mind too much. He's got level 6 now, almost level 7. Should be able to join these engagements with his team very, very soon. But bot lane, the T1 is being pushed in. March is still there with KP, trying to slow them down, but they are chipping away at it. This T1 will be down sooner than you know it.
Has been killed.
Tim's gonna find another courier. This time he takes Bok's courier away. He's actually left Mac alone for a bit, so he will go straight after that T1, though no, Armel will clear out all the spiderlings that he had. Mac will have to start all over.
Yeah, not only that, but you do have the travels up on Armel now. So he's going to be much more present around the map. He's going to be able to just jump in and out to refill his bottle as needed. And that's just going to make it that much harder for Adroit to find presence on this map.
It's a real concern, but even just those spiderlings giving that gold away to Armel, it clearly has added up. He's 400 gold ahead of the gyrocopter, who had complete free farm. Mac gonna try and go in again, but it's gonna be more spiderlings being fed the way of Armel, though he will dive the T1. It won't lead to anything though. Armel will probably get some more spiderlings now, and yeah, he does.
Gabby just survives a 4-man rotation.
It's even worse for Adroit, just not able to find those kills. It looks like the duel was committed by Bok for that. Now TNC may try to turn this one around. Tims has the arrow, looking to set up. Gabby will loop around. He has the chrono. It's a pretty nice position, and he will go for him as well. Finds two straight off the bat. Marches there with the follow-up damage.
Oh,
He'll
the
lose
arrow.
Boomy straight off the bat. The arrow, though, not connecting from Tims. Still, though, Bok is a sitting duck, and he cops the Laguna to the face.
Dyer's middle
The outpost will be taken by the side of TNC, and that'll be two outposts their way, as KP took the other one down to the southeast spot. And Adroit, I mean, on the bright side, they gave space for Mac to take the mid-tier 1. I really don't know if it's going to matter too much this game, though.
Yeah, you've given TNC a way back in, especially under side lanes. Like KP finally hits level 6. He's got some space to farm up for himself now as well. Build back up. We've seen this happen before, where KP, after a rough start, going 0 to 4, 0 to 5, just suddenly bounces back in. And it looks like TNC is set to have that happen once again. KP is getting a bit too much space down bot, but, you know, most people would just kind of ignore the Venge. I don't blame Adroit for that kind of mindset, just trying to find, farm, and slow down the map elsewhere. Or negating that great lead they had with Natsuki now, because KP's just caught up.
Looking at Mac, he's chasing Tims now on the Morocco. Almost finds the kill, and he will actually get it in the end. March, I think he may have actually blocked Tims in the tree line with one of those creeps. Not 100% sure on that one, but it did look that way. Still though, 3-2 now. 2k net worth lead remaining for the side of TNC. Their farm still escalating quite well. I mean, Armel almost 6.3k now. Gabby at 5.2. Mac is also at 5.3 on the Broodmother, but if you don't get some amazing starts on the Brood, she tends to not really be a hero throughout that mid to late game. And I'm not sure if Mac's gotten the start he really needed to be a big presence here.
Yeah, it's not quite there yet. It's building up. Still gotta wait for that Ags to come out, and still gotta wait for Adroit to start building around this Broodmother and the aggression they could pump out. But as of yet, not. It's definitely not quite there yet. They are trying to posture for top lane once again. Gabby
Dyer's top tower
alone, so it's 3 heroes once more, although March is around the area this time.
Well, he'll have Chrono in about 20 seconds. They could get a massive team fight out of this. Gabby will show himself, and it looks like just his presence alone will force Adroit to back off. Now, will show themselves as well. Still going to remain in that top lane, but they aren't finding the T1 that they wanted.
Ooh,
Matt
mango
find
tree.
himself a mango tree.
I wonder if he's gonna plant that at the right spot.
I mean, you'd imagine he would go for the Roshan plan, right? Like, it just seems too powerful to not do that.
I mean, with a hero like Brood as well, that just gives you so much control of that area. You could really just start laying it onto the Roche quite safely early on.
Bot lane, they've had down KP on the bench, and he should drop though. No, the mark kill is there. KP, he survives for just a bit. He does eventually go down, but Armel will find a double kill. Great turnaround. And it's all just thanks to having that outpost. They were all able to rotate down and help him out. Now Gabby has the chrono, doesn't need to use it though. He's just hoping for a bash onto CML and does find one. Time Walk will be there. Another bash, and that'll be the death of CML.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for Adroit. That is going to be their tier 1 going down as well. They are going to try to apply some pressure on the top tier 1 of TNC. It's not the same pushing with an LC though.
Definitely not. KP will be going up there to defend. They're certainly losing this bot tier 1 though, it looks like. Well, no, maybe Tims won't be able to get the job done as Boomy does come in to defend that one. The top lane, the fight is breaking out as Bok has gone way too far and does end up going down. And Gabby with this extremely fast Maelstrom is seemingly going to make a lot of work happen in this game. I mean, he had that Maelstrom around 12 minutes.
Yeah, it's just about as good as Raven's timing on his Midas, but you have a lot more utility from that item here, as you need a way of clearing out those Broodlings, you need a way of clearing out those summons. The Maelstrom's going to do that for you quite well. It still accelerates your farm quite nicely and gives him a lot more presence in these early fights. So I like that pickup from Gabby. He has been working it quite well. That's going to give him the tier 1 up top now, but you are seeing Adroit posture down bot.
Well, they dream call up Tims. Tims should just be dead here, but Armel trying to help him out. Still, he couldn't quite do so. And they bot T1 tower. Of course, Gabby was able to find the top T1.
My thrift rewarded.
So a 5-6, 2k net worth lead still remaining for the side of TNC. Natsuma the gyrocopter. Trying to go for that Sergeant Yasha now. He just picked up the drums. It's still fastest process in the world for Natsumi. Like, considering the start he has fallen behind in net worth. And it just doesn't seem like he's able to keep up with the side of TNC. They'll go for one of those outposts, take the northwest one. They start posturing again around that top T1 tower, but they are ready to defend on the side of TNC. They'll have at least 2 supports there.
Dire's top tower is under
Can they
attack.
defend though with 2 supports? Doesn't look like they will be able to in CML. He'll drop a tombstone down. KP looking to take it out straight away, and now the rotations come in. Gabby, he goes straight after the chrono and does find 2 in it. First Boomy goes down, then Bot goes down as well, and he's looking for even more. He won't quite find anything, although maybe he will. There's a spider in the tree line right now. Gabby won't chase any further. They lost the T1 tower, but they get 2 kills out of it.
Tower is under attack.
That's not too bad for the side of TNC.
Definitely so. That's a nice little set of kills going the way of TNC. I'm sure they don't mind losing that tier 1 as much. I mean, they already took the tier 1 in the opposite in anyway, so now the outpost is just going to be a bit of a toss-up as to who rotates more often up top. Not going to be an easy time for either side. It's also really nice to take note.
Radiant's top
Does
tower
have
is
the
under attack.
claw now, so he has a guaranteed crit every 10 seconds, and that's a good amount of damage being boosted up here that allows him to find these early chrono kills even faster.
Absolutely. Especially if you get the bash proc on the crit. Always be nice. But the Mjolnir will be up pretty darn soon for Gabby as well. In fact, I think he has it coming out right now. No, that's just a ward.
Regeneration.
Adroit, smoked up. Where do you go though? They'll loop around up towards that top lane where March will be with KP. But no, they'll change their minds. They're heading towards the mid lane now.
Are scanning.
Armel though has a Shadow Blade up, so he could just break the smoke. Looks like it won't even matter anyway. The smoke is about to wear off.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
They're looping around now to that bot lane where they find Tims. Natsumi will find the courier of March and will take it out, but Tims should be able to get out of there safely. He throws an arrow out, but he's still around the area. He'll have to leap out and TP, and that's exactly what he does. It looks like Adroit will just have to settle for taking back that outpost.
Yeah, unfortunately not the best use of the smoke. They surely were looking for a kill there. But TNC is just playing really defensively. It's 5-8, 2k lead for TNC, not a big amount. But they are taking their time here. They understand that as this game goes on, they can build up on their Void. You do have to kind of worry about that Brood getting a bit big. I mean, yeah, let's face it, the Mac is not really shut out. He's just about 300 gold behind that Athena, so he has ways to really be a nuisance in this game again. He's had his Ags for a while, and he's working towards his Diffusal next, so he still has room to really be a menace here.
Well, meanwhile, it looks like the Gyrocopter changed his item build, so rather than going for the Sergeant Yasha, he's opted to go for the Aghanim Scepter first. See how that pans out for him. TNC, currently in the Moonlight Shadow. You can see Adroit, he has the chrono. Does he find a big one? Oh, he only gets one. Still, it is a Gyrocopter though. Can he burst him down fast enough? Not quite. Natsumi will be okay. In fact, they found Bok on the Legion Commander. Armel gets that kill, and now Max gone as well, the Broodmother. That chrono, they still managed to find a 2-for-0 trade for the side of TNC. and I believe Armel may have got some dual damage. In fact, he did.
Dire's
Yeah, that's not the best science here for Adroit. That was less than optimal chrono. It's just that TNC's that much stronger at this point. They had better precision there. They were set to be aggressors there, and it does pay off in the end. They will be able to take the Roche for free, and I actually don't see the mango tree planted anywhere. I'm not sure where that one went.
It's just gone, John.
That's disappointing.
It literally is just gone. Nobody has it.
A gift from the goddess.
Fair enough. Tims. They'll find Boomy down to the bot lane. Does get equal stop. There is a dream call there from Boomy, but he doesn't commit it quite yet. Does get the silence off, and now the dream call will come out, and there should be an easy kill onto Tims. They will find it. And unfortunately, though, CML's the one to take it on the Undying. Not really how you split that gold from Tims, but still, they do find the kill regardless. Only problem is, though, mid lane, Armel finds milk on the Brood.
Yeah, that's really not what you want to be seeing at this point. 21 minutes in, Broodmother is at third place in that board. They haven't really melted all the towers you'd want a Broodmother to melt at this point. And as that clock keeps ticking, the effectiveness of that hero starts to dwindle. And there's only so much you can do with a Brood as you approach that late game.
Gabby gonna go after Talk. No chrono, but may not even need it as the swamp is there from KP and the magic missile. Now the LSA, they just controlled him up and he just goes down. Now Gabby, he'll go after CML on the Undying. He just rips him apart as well. Boomy gonna get caught out, it looks like. He'll dodge the stun, but it doesn't matter as Armel's on a triple. And it's just turning into a very one-sided game now for TNC as they're going after the tier 3 tower now at 22 minutes in. And I don't believe Adroit can actually stop them from doing this.
No, they definitely can't. I mean, Armel is 9-0 right now. He's had an excellent run down mid. They do buy back. They're going to try to defend.
Well, Swamp is there on Natsumi. Now the chrono straight away. The gyrocopter is just gone. No buyback available on Natsumi. That'll mean at least a mid-rax being taken here for TNC. They're going to try and defend it, looks like KP. He'll throw out a magic missile on CML. They have thrown the dream call out as well. Matt, who are you going for? He's trying to find a target, but they're just essentially kiting him around. Gabby now fighting CML on the Undying, and no, never mind, just go for Mac instead. They'll burst down the Broodmother. CML now just trying to run the hell out of there. Armel finding a secondary on Sabok. Now they'll find Boomy, and that's GG well played. TNC, this is more like the TNC we know, John.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, that performance from Armel.